It's not often that we revisit mysteries I've already covered on the channel before, mostly because they either remain a mystery or they get solved in the first video. But this topic is one of the strangest mysteries I've ever researched, and just when I thought the case was as complete as it could be, new information comes to light about what are some of the rarest Nintendo DS consoles to ever exist. For those who didn't catch the first video that covered this topic, the story goes that two Animal Crossing themed DS consoles, with spring and winter art on them, circulated the internet with no one having known the origins or authenticity of them. There was a rumor there was a contest held in Sweden and that these were the prizes, but no one knew anything beyond that. I went on an epic Wayback Machine hunt to uncover the contest pages for both consoles, proving that yes, they are one-of-one prizes, yes, they were actually awarded unlike some other rare consoles, and yes, Nintendo did officially license them. While that's nice and all, the bigger part of the mystery was who has them now and if they're still in existence to this day. Fortunately, I was able to track down the spring one to an indie game developer named Simon, but I was at a loss regarding who owned the winter one. And this is where the mystery for this episode begins. I was at a real loss last time when I attempted to find the winner of the Winter DS, simply because the contest page for it lacked the depth that the other one went into. It was a very basic webpage that was simply hosted on Nintendo's old Swedish website, but little did I know the answer was actually on this webpage the whole time, and it was my unfamiliarity with the Wayback Machine that left me at a dead end. Cue the power of my viewers. I got a comment by Rabbit Ears, who said they looked at the contest page and noticed that the page was originally Flash-based, but not navigatable via standard means, as Nintendo used a monotonically incriminating ID for their news posts. So Rabbit Ears kept incriminating the ID until they found a page with the winner's name on it. The name Rabbit Ears found for me was Line Marquis Jensen. This fellow was the winner of the Winter DS console, and now it was time for me to do what I do best, track them down. Except there are many complications with this person's name. What a lot of people probably don't know when I search for people regarding lost media is that a name can often make or break a search. If we go back to the other contest winner, Simon from the last video, he was really easy to find and his name helped a lot with that. Simon Flesser is a pretty normal name, it's very clearly a first and last name, and since he's an indie game developer, his name and similarly titled company, Simogo, is connected to his studio, making him pretty accessible if you search for the right things. Line Marquis Jensen, however, is a really strange name to search for, at least here in America. This means I'm reduced to the only place where searching people's names will actually bring up people, social media. I was hoping this would lead me to the right person, however it ended up leading me to a dead end. I searched a combination of names and scrolled through the results for a bit, but no one jumped out to me as even having a remote interest in video games. Going back to Simon, he had logos and other clues that cued me into knowing it was him, but with Line I have nothing to go on. It came down to whether or not I wanted to message random people, even though I had no evidence to suggest that they would have entered the contest at all. I didn't feel comfortable doing that, and unfortunately that's the end of the Winter DS. I think the only way we'll find Line, or whoever owns it, is for awareness to be spread regarding the console's whereabouts, and hopefully the owner will come forward either in the comments or via email to me. And actually, that's a really important point, because if it wasn't for email, then we wouldn't have a huge extension to this saga, as I received an email a few weeks ago that pretty much added another puzzle piece to this huge story. The email I received was from someone named Sondre, who said they had seen the original Swedish DS video and it reminded them of something they have. Back many years ago, they worked at an electronics store that sold a lot of Nintendo products, and as a show of appreciation from Bergsala, the store was awarded with an Autumn Animal Crossing DS painted in the same exact style as the spring and winter ones. Sondre went on to state that when the store went out of business, they held on to it as they were the only Nintendo fan who was working there. And wow, what an incredible piece of memorabilia they have. Attached to the email were a couple pictures of the DS, and it looks beautiful. This might be my favorite one out of the three. While it's a very nice piece and I'm so glad Sondre held on to it and sent me an email about it, I can't help but wonder why it exists. The other two consoles being contest prizes makes sense, but for Bergsala to just straight up give this store a DS doesn't really fit into the lore that we know. I'm going to assume all three were made at the same time, which makes me ponder the possibility that these consoles weren't necessarily contest prizes from the get-go, but rather Nintendo made them and then decided how they were going to be distributed. And if that's the case, there's gotta be a fourth and final DS out there, a summer one. The three we've seen so far are all recreations of existing Wild World artwork, and if the theory that these were made before distribution was decided holds up, then a fourth one has to exist and was given to someone at some time for some reason. I kinda like the idea that these DS have evolved from just being a couple contest prizes to exist more as a Bergsala Animal Crossing DS set. I'd also like to know who the artist was or why it was decided that these should be made. I really hope in time we'll be able to get a lead on the summer one, while also being able to track down the owner of the winter one. Imagine knowing the legendary 4 owners of the 4 Bergsala Animal Crossing DS consoles. That's some pretty deep lore that'd be very cool to uncover in its entirety. But until that happens, the mystery of the winter and summer Bergsala Animal Crossing DS consoles will remain a mystery.